Good morning. We'll start. How long to wait? It's already 8:36, 9:36. Okay, in the last few classes, we have done with fifth module, and we have done what is firewall, what are the types of firewalls, what is packet filters, what is security threat to packet filters, IP address spoofing, prevention, source attack, source routing attack preventions, tiny fragment attacks preventions, application gateways, stateful inspection firewalls, and circuit level gateways. Then difference between router and firewalls we have seen, and what is firewall, the difference between firewall and antivirus. So we have seen what is antivirus, what is firewall, then what is personal firewalls, what is parent control software, what is difference between packet filters versus firewall. Then we have seen how a firewall protects a network, packet characteristics to filters, then stateless versus stateful firewalls, network address translation and port forwarding. Then we have seen all these in the last classes. Then we've started with basic of virtual networks. Okay, and we have done with inside the delimitarized zone. Then we have seen how the internal internet and DMZ and private networks are communicated with the help of firewall. Then we have started with Linux system firewall. We have started with OX X system firewall, and we have started with this. Okay, so let us again start brief about OS X system firewall. Apple OS X is a Uni-based operating system with an elegant user interface. Apple has created a well-coordinated ecosystem of networking that is typically characterized by its just works. This applies to activities like sharing music from iTunes libraries or using AirDrop to move files between systems. Apple laptops are also a common sight at cafes with public Wi-Fi network. While it's important to share data among your device at home, it's a good idea to restrict that sharing of hostile network. As you might expect from a system that focuses on clarity and easy of use, the OS X firewall is straightforward and simple to modify. Looks for its configuration option under the security and privacy. System privacy sections of the system preference as shown in the figure. So you can see here, uh, that is what the security and privacy, where you have to click to check out what are the securities the fire operating system is having and what is a firewall it is. After that, once you click on security and privacy, you can go here, security and privacy, click automatic allow sign software to receive incoming connections. Then, what is Windows System Firewall? So most of us use a Windows. We use different operating system. Here, Windows System Firewall, the Microsoft Windows operating system has evolved significantly over the past few decades. In its early days, the system exposed important service and sensitive information by default, like remote register access by default. Today, Microsoft has adopted the OS to a more hostile environment and has learned from many of its mistakes in the past. One important feature is it has included in the system firewall. The interface for enabling and configuring the firewall is in the control panel. So we'll see how we can see in the next slide. Note that it allows you to define different trust levels based on your network location. Since it's likely a laptop will roam among several different networks during its lifetime, or perhaps even daily, This interface helps you to determine when and what to share for a particular environment. Figure 14.11.4 shows the basic operations, basic options available to you for these different locations. Follow the recommendation unless you have compiling reasons for disabling the firewall. So that's what here we can see how to protect your computer with the firewall. Control panel home, allow the program or features through Windows Firewall. Windows Firewall can help prevent hacker on malicious software for gaining access uh, to your computer through the internet or a network. So how does the firewall help protect by capturing? So how are networks connected? Networks at home are allow the program or features through Windows Firewall. Changing the notification setting turns Windows Firewall. So these are the settings which we have in Windows Firewalls. Windows Firewall helps protect your computer with Windows Firewall. How does the firewall help protect my computer? What are the network location and how home or network connected, network at home or work where you know and trust the people and device on the network. Windows Firewall state incoming connections, active home or network, private network. Then notification, protect your Windows system. So how to protect the Windows system? So that's what here it says, how the firewall okay. So what the notice states, uh, how a block, if you want to block any incoming connections, like in our mobile we block if we don't want someone to call us again and again, so then we start blocking. So you can see there Windows Windows Firewall state and incoming connection we can see on. So block all connections to program that are not on the list of allowed program. So then active home or a network or work, a private network or a network. So then notification state, notify when when Windows Firewall blocks a new program. Suppose if it is a very new program and you want to see how it is, so then we can you can activate this and you'll come to know what is a notification. So this is how we have to have a Windows firewall. So the public network, generally we may not have a connected. So always home, because when we are staying at home, it will be home or a private network. In the same way, customizing settings for each type of network, we can modify the firewall setting for each type of network location that we use. So even the location based also, we can the firewall can be modified. If it is a home or a work private network location settings, so then notify me when the Windows Firewall blocks a new program, in case if you want to install some new softwares. So then before, because you have blocked that, but before that do anything, it should give a notification saying that this is a new program. So then in the same way, public network location settings turns on Windows Firewall, notify me when Windows Firewall blocks a new program. So that's how here we can see how the turns on Windows Firewall. So then blocks all incoming connections. If you want to block all incoming connections, we can block, including those in the list of allowed programs. then notify me when Windows firewall blocks a new program. So then turn off Windows firewall, not recommended. So that's how here we see customizing the firewall. Then snore and intrusion detection system. The firewall blocks traffic that we know beforehand should not be traversing a protected network. However, we have to let some traffic into the network, and of course traffic need to be go out. Now, a competent administrator creates a robust rule set to prevent malicious traffic from bypassing a firewall. A Seva administrator prepares for scenario in which malicious traffic manages to bypass the firewall. This is where network monitor comes in. Then SNOR, that is www.snore.org, is a network monitoring tool that watches traffic for sign of malicious activities. So example, buffer overflow being executed against a service, command and control traffic from a malware. Suspicious activity, example, port scanning and service enumerations, and anything else that we wish to look out for. And it's a core an intrusion detection system is a sniffer like TCP dump or wireless shark, but with specialized filter that attempts to identify malicious activity. A good IDS can find anything from a buffer overflow attack against an SSH server to the transmission of etc. or passwords, or we may use a file transfer protocol. So network administrator place these systems where they can best monitor traffic, such as a point where they can see all traffic through a firewall, or see all traffic between network segment with different security context. Figure we see how we do it in the figure, customizing the firewall. The IDS examines packets looking for particular signature or a pattern that are associated with the suspicious or prohibited activity. The IDS then reports on all traffic that matches those signatures. Snore is a robust IDS that runs on Unix-based system, Windows system. It is also completely free. In this section, we focus on version 2.9. Snort is one of the more complex tools converted in this book. So in fact, entire books have been dedicated slowly to Snore. We will cover some of the basic concepts that make Snore a super IDs. You can view the online document at www.snore.org or DOS for full details of configuration and usage. Then Snort mods, Snort running on an ad hoc sniffer similar to TCP dump, a packet logger continue recording of our traffic, network traffic, or IDs. So the net trigger alarms based on suspicious activity. The first two modes, relay, have no advantage over any other sniffer, except that Snore packet logger is designed to help organize and manage significant amount of recorded traffic. Snort uses a rule configuration file named snort config to control how it filters the traffic. Snort's inline mode enables it to work with a firewall like Linux tablets to block attacks in a real time. So this enables Snort to competent a firewall by reacting to port scans, buffer overflow, or other malicious activities by terminating connections or blocking IP address. Of course, laying on automatic traffic blocking is dangerous because it may alternately provide too much sense of security after all. And IDS will miss lot of traffic like encrypted connection or become an unintended denial of service. It's trivial to spoof. packets that appears to be a port scanning or simple attacks, and you could not want to start blocking service, your network needs to function. Exploring snort configuration, let us look at let's take a quick tour of a snort.config file. In the snort source directory, we will be having two subdirectories of the internet and the rules. So the actual snort configurant file lives in it. You may find it easier to create a separate system directory, say URL, local, or a snort, and copy the etc. and the rules directory to these directories. Just be careful for the permissions on those files. They should be readable only by the user running snort. The first part of the snort config file lets you set some important global variables indicating such that your home subnet, your web server, and your rule location. Here are some global definitions. So we can see here IPVR home network 192.168.1. It ranges from 0 to 24. In the same way, IPVR external key, external internet, any can be accessed. In the same way, IPv DNS domain name server, it may range from 192.168.1.152, either it may be 32 or 151 or 32. In the same way, HTTP server also we require to browse any of the web services. So in that case, the web services will be having 42 or 32. So in the same way, port where HTTP ports. So these are the different ports available for HTTP ports. So then rule path. So we can specify the rule paths. So these variable definition tell snort that it's running on 192.168.1.0 class C network with DNS servers at 192.168.1.150 and 192.168.1.151, and a web server on 192.168.1.42. The snort rule set will reference these variables to help cut down on the amount of network it has to do. Rules that checks for web attacks will watch only host defined in HTTP server instead of watching every host, even those that are not running web server. Finally, the rule path points to the directory containing the actual rule files, which we will discuss in the next section, the snort rule and overview. The second part of the file lets you configure preprocessor. The preprocessor handles such things as fragmented packets, port scan detection, and stream reassembly. Usually it's best to go with the default option and see how they work out for us. So however, by default, port scanning detection is turned off. Currently, two different methods can be used for detecting port scanning. Simply search snort.configure for preprocessor, SF spot scan to check them out. The syntax for an example, preprocessors. Then the rules and the overview of snort. Snort rules are similar to the kind of packet filters expressions that we create in a TCP dump or a wireless shark. They can match packets based on IP ports, header data flags, and packet contents. Snort has several types of rules that affect how it handles the traffic. Alert rules, long packets whose characteristics match a predefined suspicious pattern, example, generated by a common hacking tools, or contain a string indicative of a buffer overflow or web attacks, or customs rules that monitor packages you determine to prohibit or undesire on your network, example, file sharing, gaming, etc. Pass rules explicitly ignores packets traffic that matches these rules will not be logged. So then what is log rules? Record packets but do not generate rules. This could be useful for diagnosing network problems, storing traffic for audits, or monitoring sensitive systems, so that traffic can be analyzed in case a compromise is detected. Active rules generate an uh, alert for active traffic that matches these rules trigger, then activate a subsequent dynamic rules until it is activated. Dynamic rule will not generate an alert even if traffic matches it. So dynamic rules triggered by active rules. This enables you to uh, chain rules uh, together in the way that makes inspection more efficient and more uh, uh, create a complex chains. These are great mechanism for gathering more information. So information during the attacks. It's not becomes with a standard rule set that checks for such activity as a snip, steal, scan, vulnerability exploits, attempts, buffer overflow, anonymous FTP access, and much more. By default, Snort checks the packet against alert rules first, followed by bypass rules and then log rules. This setup is perfect for the administrator who is just learning Snort and plan on using the default config file and rule set. Snort default rule set does not include any pass rules or long rules, however, running sort without program anything. Kind of customization or configuration is usually a bad idea, as you will no doubt in updating with the false positive. As we can as you become more familiar with the Snort rule syntax, you'll be able to write rules to ignore certain traffic. For example, imagine a network that has been receiving a flood of domain name server queries forwarded to its own DNS server from other DNS server on the internet. In other words, the traffic with the legitimate just arriving in spikes. It may happen that Snort could falsely alert on the traffic as UDP port scan and DNS props. Obviously, it's not helpful to cluster Snort log with the false positive. Consequently, we could create a custom rule to handle this specific scenario. To do so, you could start the rule with a variable definition called DNS server that contains the IP address of each DNS server on the network. Then write directives that operate on the DNS server variable as shown in the Snort rule. These rules could be placed in the local rule files. Now, what is Snort rule syntax? Before that, let me take attendance. Ambrish, answer to your attendance. Ambrish.
Yes, ma'am.
Anu.
Present, ma'am.
Ashok.
Present, ma'am.
Benita. Bhavishya.
Present, ma'am.
Chaitra.
Present, ma'am.
Diksha,
Present, ma'am.
Deepika,
Present, ma'am.
Murli Krishna, Murli Krishna, Harshit,
Present, ma'am.
Kishore, Kishore, Manjunath,
Yes, ma'am.
Nayana,
Yes, ma'am.
Nayana, since from last 2 classes you are absent. Ilanjan, Ilanjan, Nishant,
Present, ma'am.
Rajeshwari,
Present, ma'am.
Ramya,
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi,
I'm
Srinivas,
present. Rashmi present, ma'am.
yeah, marked. Srinivas,
Present, ma'am.
Sunil,
Ma'am, Benita present, ma'am.
yeah, marked Benita. Okay, so in the last class,
Ma'am.
yes, Ambrish,
Ma'am, case study and innovative questions for second internals.
yeah, I'll discuss.
Okay,
I'll stop presenting. Okay, so in the second internals, regarding your case study and innovative questions, so the case study question, so it will be related to your subject only. So you would have studied in your chapters only. Maybe something like what are the securities you will follow in case if you have given some role. So that may be your innovative question. So in the same way, even the case study also. So in case if you are a lawyer somewhere, then what are the legal challenges you take when you are working as a cyber security person or a head? So what are the challenges you take? So that will be about your case study question. So that is related, it is present in your syllabus only. What is there in your syllabus, you can just study them, and it is covered in your syllabus only. Something like you have to explain what are the challenges you take when the forensic you're the head of the forensic, and in case if you're a head of the forensic, what are the privacy issues you may face. So that may be your question. That's about your case study and innovative question. So it is in your syllabus only, not to worry. It is there in your syllabus. What you just go study your syllabus and come. It is within your syllabus only. Okay. So in the last few classes, I was showing you so how the cyber. Yes, Srinivas.
Ma'am, Sunil is in the meeting, but he's not able to turn on his mic. Ma'am, he texted me.
Okay, fine. I'll mark attendance.
Ma'am, Sunil ma'am, present ma'am.
Okay, Sunil, I'll mark it.
Ma'am, Murli ma'am, suddenly it got disconnected.
Okay, Murli. Okay.
Ma'am, Kishore ma'am.
Yes, given. So in the last few classes, we were seeing how the cyber government website is working, and even I showed you how what are the cyber crimes, how you can complain in your at home only in case if you lose something you have lost. One second. I'm just sharing. Okay, so in the last few classes, we have seen how the cyber crime in the government, what is a website for the cyber crime. So this is where the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, where if you have any issues with the cyber crime, you can come here and file the case. Not required for you to personally go and complain. That's what last also I was saying. So, and I think you would have at least visited this site and seen what are the things. So here you can see here. If you want to learn more about cybercrime, you can click there and you can see what are the different cyber crimes and what is unlawful acts where computer communication device of our computer networks. In the same way, child pornography, child sexual abuse material. So these things you can see here. So in the same way, cyberbullying. So what is cyberbullying? Harassment or bullying inflicted through use of electronic or communication device, such as someone is blackmailing you with computer or mail or mobile phone, and that is what is called cyberbullying. So in the same way, cyber stalk is the use of electronic communication by a person to follow a person or attempt to contact a person to foster personal interaction repeatedly despite of clear indication of disinterest by such persons, or monitoring the internet, email, or any other forms of electronic communication, commit the offense of stalking. Then what is cyber grooming? So cyber grooming is where a personal builds an online relationship with a young person and tricks or pressures him or her in doing a sexual act. So then ongoing jobs fraud. So you would have seen so many people, they say that I will get you a job, you give me this amount. So that is also a fraud. So that's what online job fraud is, an attempt to default people who need of employment by giving them a false hope and compromise of better employment with the higher wages. So then online sexoterium. So here the online occurs when someone threatens to disturb private and sensitive material using an electronic medium if he or she does not provide images of sexual nature, sexual favor, or money. So then what is wishing? Wishing is an attempt where fraudsters try to seek personal information like your customer ID, net banking password, maybe ATM, PIN, OTP, or card expiry date, so or a CVV either through the phone. Sexting is an act of sending sexual explicit digital images or videos or text messages or emails, usually by phone. So that's what you should be very careful enough whenever you are sending any obscene messages in your groups also. So that is also, if someone complains you, you'll be behind the bar. So you be very careful. Then smishing is a type of fraud that uses mobile phone text message or lure victims into calling back on a fraudulent phone number, visiting fraudulent website, or downloading malicious content via phone or a web. Then SIM swap scanning. Every one of us will be having a SIM swap scam occurs when fraudulent manages to get a new SIM card issued against a registered mobile number, fraudulent through the mobile service provider. With the help of this new SIM card, they get one-time password and alerts required for making financial transaction through victims' bank account. Getting new SIM card against a registered mobile number fraudulent is known as SIM swap. Then debit and credit card faults. So debit and credit card fault involve an unauthorized use of another's credit or debit card information for the purpose of purchase or withdrawing funds from it. Impersonation and identity theft. Impersonation and identity theft is an act of fraudulent or dishonestly making use of electronic signature, password, or any other unique identification features of any person. Phishing is a type of fraudulent that involves stealing personal information such as customer ID, PIN, credit card, credit and debit card number, card expiry date, CVV, etc. through mail, that appears to be a legitimate source. Then spamming occur when someone receives an unsolicited commercial message sent via email or SMS or MMS and any other similar electronic messaging medium. They may try to persuade a recipient to buy a product or a service or visit a website where he can make purchase, or they may attempt to trick them, him or he, to indulging bank accounts or credit card details. So then ransomware. Ransomware is a type of computer malware that encrypts the files, storage media, or communication device like desktop, laptop, mobile phones, etc. Holding data or information as a hostage, the victim is asked to pay the demanded ransom to get his device decryption. Then viruses and worms and Trojan. Computer viruses is a program written to enter to your computer and damage or alert your files. It may alter your files, data, and replicates them. So worms are malicious programs that make copies of themselves again and again on the local drive, network shares, etc. The Trojan horse is not a virus, it is a destructive program that looks as a genius application. Unlike virus, Trojan horse do not replicate themselves, but they can be just as destructive. Trojan opens a backdoor entry to your computer, which gives malicious user or a program access to your system, allowing confidential and personal information for a theft. What is data breach? Data breach is an incident in which information is accessed without authorization. Denial of service or a distributed DOS. Denial of service attack is an attack intended for denying access to computer resource without permission of owner or any other person who is in charge of computer system or computer network. A distributed denial of service attack is an attempt to make an online service unable by overwhelming it with the traffic from multiple sources. Then what is website defacement? Website defacement is an attack intended to change a visual appearance of a website and or make its dysfunction. The attacker may post incident, hostile, and obscene images, messages, videos, and etc. Cyberquesting. Cyberquesting is an act of registering traffic in or using a domain name with an intent to profit from a goodwill of a trademark belonging to someone else. Farming. Farming is a cyber attack aiming to redirect a website traffic to another box website. Cryptojacking. Cryptojacking is an authorized use of computing resource to mine cryptocurrency. Cryptojacking is an unauthorized use of computer resources to mine a cryptocurrency. Online debugging, trafficking. Online drug trafficking is a crime of selling, transporting, or illegal importing unlawful controlled substance such as heroin, cocaine, morphine, or any illegal drugs using electronic means. Espionage is the act or practice of obtaining data and information about information without permission and knowledge of the owner. So these are the things which you should know. All these definitions about cyber crime. So this is are very important. So how to file a complaint? You can see here. Click on this. You'll go there and you read all these before you say I'm accepting this information I have provided to this form is correct to be best of my knowledge. The knowledge of providing false information could make me liable to penal action under Indian law. So that's what, if you give false information, it will be subject to you to be behind bar according to Indian's law. I understand that action on the complaints reported on this portal shall be taken by concerning authorities as per Indian law. So the complaint information you submit to this site is encrypted via secure socket layer encryption. Please see the privacy of the other information. You just click on the accept, then you can go and check it out. So that's what here about filing, about learning about cybercrime and filing a complaint. So in the same way, we in the last few classes we have seen how the obscene, how the online scam. So we can see even in the English, that's what even the last class also I showed you, how the we'll just see how the online bullying is happening.
Hi, Auntie. Where is Shikha? Sitting inside. She is upset because someone is sending her obscene messages online. Oh, cyberbullying. Yes, I told her to immediately stop using the internet. No, Auntie. She should use the internet, but carefully. Like not answering to mails from unknown people, not sharing her photographs and phone numbers with strangers, blocking the numbers of bullies.
Register all your complaints related to cybercrime at www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India.
Okay.
Oh no.
What happened?
Someone created a fake Facebook account of a woman and God knows what all he posted on it.
See, in such cases, one should directly report to the concerned service provider of the social website on what all happened and also take some precautions.
Such as?
Be cautious while making friends on social sites. Keep your password long and unique. Never share your personal information anywhere. And then you get into trouble, register a complaint at your nearest police station immediately.
Your alertness can help you save yourself from cybercrime. Register cybercrime-related complaints at www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India.
I can't believe it. See, we are the winner in a company's draw. Oh my God, our world has changed.
Come on, in which world you are?
What do you mean?
Free tour, lottery, gift prizes, all these are cyber frauds. First, they tempt you with these offers and then will tell you to deposit processing fees. And if they manage to get details of your bank accounts, they can take away all your money.
Oh.
Never ever share the details of your bank accounts and debit, credit cards, such as account number, password, card number, CVV, PIN, OTP, etc. Go to the help section of social media to report such incidents on social media.
Register all your complaints related to cybercrime at www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India.
Yeah, this is what we have seen. It's in the same way, online scam.
Sir, I'm calling from a bank. I can see in my system that your card has been blocked.
Sir, I can reveal you the numbers of a lottery.
Madam, you have won a contest. You just need to give me your bank details.
Double your money in 3 months. You just need to give 20,000 rupees and after 3 months, you will get 40,000 in return.
All such offers received on call or SMS are scams and aim to defraud. Never reply to such messages, emails or phone calls in enticement or greed. Stay alert and keep others alert as well. Your alertness and cautiousness can help you being saved from cybercrimes. Report all your complaints related to cybercrimes on www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Sir, I'm calling from a bank. I can see in my system that your card has been blocked.
Sir, I can reveal you the numbers of a lottery.
Madam, you have won a contest. You just need to give me your bank details.
Double your money in 3 months. You just need to give 20,000 rupees and after 3 months, you will get 40,000 in return.
All such offers received on call or SMS are scams and aim to defraud. Never reply to such messages, emails or phone calls in enticement or greed. Stay alert and keep others alert as well. Your alertness and cautiousness can help you being saved from cybercrimes. Report all your complaints related to cybercrimes on www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. Oh God, I don't even know who has added me to this group. There are so many obscene things written. People are sharing inappropriate, obscene photos and videos on this group. Above all, they share offensive pictures and videos of children. I have no clue who all are spreading this obscenity.
Viewing and broadcasting of any type of child pornography is a criminal offense. If found guilty, one can be jailed and fined. You can register your complaint against child pornography or other obscene content like rape or gang rape videos on www.cybercrime.gov.in. Your alertness and cautiousness can help you being saved from cybercrimes. Report all your complaints related to such cybercrimes on www.cybercrime.gov.in. Issued in public interest by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India.
क्या हुआ सीता, तुम कुछ उदास लग रही हो? मेरे नाम से किसी ने फेसबुक पेज बनाकर उस पर अश्लील चीजें पोस्ट कर रहा है। पेज पर उसने हमारी फोटो भी लगा रखी है। इससे दोस्तों और रिलेटिव्स में हमारी बहुत बदनामी होगी। तुमने किसी के साथ अपनी पर्सनल डिटेल्स शेयर तो नहीं की? मुझे याद आया कि पिछले सप्ताह ऑनलाइन चैट करते हुए मैंने अपना नाम, ईमेल, फोन नंबर इत्यादि एक नए ऑनलाइन फ्रेंड के साथ शेयर किए थे। बस यही हो गई ना तुमसे भूल। तुरंत फेसबुक हेल्प पर जाकर फेक अकाउंट की रिपोर्ट करो।
सावधान, अनजान व्यक्ति से कभी भी अपनी निजी जानकारी शेयर न करें। आपकी सतर्कता एवं सावधानी आपको साइबर क्राइम से बचने में मदद कर सकती है। साइबर अपराधों से संबंधित शिकायतें www.cybercrime.gov.in पर दर्ज कराएं। गृह मंत्रालय, भारत सरकार द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
Okay. So this is all. You have to be very careful whenever you're doing any cybercrime. That's what even posting some obscene messages also you will be viewing or even posting to any groups. Even the Facebooks also, if you are creating any Facebook unauthorized people Facebook. So all these are the cyber crimes. So we can complain if you feel that you there is one more Facebook created on behalf of you. So like this, these are the cyber crimes, and this is what the government of India website, where you can see this is what we can complain. We'll see some more interesting information in the next class. Okay, someone was asking me, Ambarish, I think. So let us take 2 or 3 minutes and see how the case studies can be done. I'll just show. Cybercrime case studies. I'm just searching. Where was my case study questions? Okay, so today I'll stop. I'll search and keep it ready for tomorrow. I'll be discussing you about case study in